Fire Streak from stall 9, Midships from stall 7, the two market rivals. A very good looking field here in the paddock. And Raven's Pass will go into stall 5. It looks as though they're a little bit concerned about Fire Streak possibly in stall 9. The handler just maybe humouring the colt. Raven's Pass walking forward. They're just about lined up now for the opener. And they're off, racing away. Montandor was a little bit slow to go from stall number 1. The others racing in a tight group. Mr. Hardy is the one that's pulling very hard in the black cap. Spanish Bounty very handy in the mauve jacket. And also Raven's Pass in green and white. Fire Streak is handy towards the outside of runners in the scarlet sleeves. And then in the noseband is Wigram's Turn. Midships is covered up today in a pink cap, followed by Aim to Storm. Unifer just in behind the leaders as well. And Bella Latino would be the early back marker. Montandor recovering from that slightly tardy start to go up into about 4th or 5th place. The lead being held by Raven's Pass, just to Spanish Bounty. Fire Streak close up, Montandor. Then in behind them, Mr. Hardy from Unifer. Then Wigram's Turn towards the far side in that noseband. Midships is trying to go for a gap between Wigram's Turn and Fire Streak. Montandor down the near side. Mr. Hardy chasing them. Unifer now under pressure from Aim to Storm and Bella Latino. Racing inside the final quarter mile. Raven's Pass now up in behind. Midships was rather hampered about there. Fire Streak trying to challenge. It's still Raven's Pass in front. Mr. Hardy, Fire Streak behind these Spanish Bounty and Unifer running on under pressure. But Raven's Pass displaying a thoroughly likeable attitude here. Leads by 2 or 3 lengths to Mr. Hardy, Fire Streak. Unifer doing his best work at the finish. But Raven's Pass is drawing away in the style of a really nice 2-year-old. Unifer is second. Mr. Hardy third. It was tight for 4th between Aim to Storm and Fire Streak on the far side.
Well, I don't doubt we'll be getting a decent quote for the next year's Guineas for this colt. He's been really impressive here, Raven's Pass. Always travelled, quickened, and he's absolutely slammed them. Unifer was back in 2nd place. And Mr. Hardy, I think, got home for 3rd in the end. Let's just check out the replay. There's 1 or 2 little incidences in it that the stewards might want to have a look at, principally involving Midships, who seemed to get himself into a spot of bother in the Abdullah colours. But they seemed to go pretty steady earlier on, didn't they? Pressed by Spanish Bounty on the right of picture, and extreme right there. That's Montandor in the black and white colours. We'll get the time of this race in a moment or two. But just here, Richard Hughes goes for a gap there with Midships on his outside. That's Wigwam's Turn. He manages to find his way across them, but then a concertina effect caused possibly by the horses drifting across towards the far side. Yeah, it was certainly Fire Streak edging right, wasn't it, as Ryan Moore asked him to pick up, and that was the end of Midships. His chance had gone, and he didn't pick up at all after that. But look at the way Jimmy Fortune asked this Raven's Pass to go about his business. I don't think he ever gives him more than just a couple of cracks. In fact, just the one was needed, wasn't it, in the end? And he stretches clear in really impressive fashion to beat Unifer into 2nd place. And a good effort by the 3rd horse there, Mr. Hardy, to get 4th. Just see if there's anything else that we can pick out here from the running and riding point of view here. Certainly Fire Streak edging right there didn't help Midships, but he has to go down as a real disappointment, the big grey colt. Sure, he's better than that. But John Gosden has clearly got some nice 2-year-olds, and this fella, I would imagine, yes, he's been given a quote for the Guineas, 16 to 1 with Labrooks, the magic sign. They're all pouring in now. Stan James, 33 to 1 first show for Raven's Pass. And I've got another one from Bet Direct as well. 25 to 1, so varying from 16s up to 33 to 1 there. I think the more you play this, the more impressive it gets. Boise, would you consider this horse to have classic potential? I certainly would.
It's likeable, wasn't it? Really extended nicely, which is what you want to see, and lengthened nicely. And he's gone right away, put a clear daylight between himself and his rivals. 1 or 2 of his rivals pretty disappointing. The favourite Fire Streak, well, did hang pretty badly, and as Mike was saying, Midships there pretty.
De temps de regagner des rangs, mais c'est toujours Tamayous qui est le meilleur à 150 mètres du poteau, attaqué par 4 juniors, Kanda Aaron est 3e, attaqué par Raven's Pass, Rio de la Plata, Trinco qui refait beaucoup de terrain à l'extérieur, mais sans doute trop tard, c'est là Tamayous qui va gagner devant Raven's Pass, la 3e place pour Rio de la Plata.
Gates closed on Champs-Élysées now, all set for the $5 million Breeders' Cup Classic. Gates open, fields sent on their way to the roar of the Santa Anita crowd. Go Between broke beautifully on the inside, but Casino Drive now going up to lead them. Fairbanks and the red cappers in the centre of the track showing speed, and Duke of Marmalade, dark colours right behind them. Then it's Smooth Air, Colonel John in the white cap forced to go a little wide. Henry the Navigator is racing back in 7th. He's 6 lengths off the leaders, and here's Curlin. Gold colours now, he's got 4 horses behind him. Curlin very comfortable, but he's a good 7 lengths off the leaders. Then it's Student Council, Ravens Pass, Tiago is back second last, and Champs-Élysées content to trail 15 off the leaders. Past the 7/8 they go, and Victor Espinoza has Casino Drive just at a steady pace here. He's not flying, he's in front of length. Fairbanks tracks in second. Go Between has taken a beautiful hold in third. Long Rain, Go Between looking nice in the third spot. Up alongside of him comes Duke of Marmalade. Just in behind those two is Smooth Air. Colonel John on the far side, only 4 lengths off these leaders. Then it's another 4 lengths further back to Henry the Navigator. Now here's Curlin in 8th. Curlin is giving them 8 lengths start. In behind that comes Ravens Pass and Student Council racing side by side. Tiago's a good 11 off the leaders, and Champs-Élysées is still last. Into the turn they go now, and Casino Drive along the inside, taken on now by Fairbanks on the outside. And now here comes Duke of Marmalade to tackle them, and Curlin, gold cap on the outside, and look at Curlin go. Is this believable? Curlin on the outside, Colonel John trying to go with him. Ravens Pass, but now it's Curlin made this huge run. Can he go on? Whip comes out on him. Ravens Pass down the centre. Henry the Navigator's running on. Colonel John on the inside. Curlin now in deep order. He has to dig deep, but it's going to be Ravens Pass to take him on. Along the inside, Henry the Navigator's coming home gamely as well. But it's going to be Ravens Pass to win it. Ravens Pass and Frankie Dettori have won the Classic. It'll be Henry the Navigator second. Tiago ran on late to be in a photo with Curlin for that third spot.
Curlin gave the biggest punch he could throw, but Ravens Pass stood up to it and won the Breeders' Cup Classic. What an upset here at Santa Anita.
Ravens, look at Frankie Dettori. Gradually made his way up, down the backside, big run on the turn, and just didn't quite have it in the middle of the stretch.
When we first discussed the fact that the Breeders' Cup this year...
I was content where I was. Had to go a little wider than I wanted to, but I mean, that's Curlin. That's just patented running. He comes around horses. He made the lead within himself, turning for home. I called him, give me some running, just got run by late.
A lot of talk about the synthetic surface or the heat. Do you feel either of those factored in?
It's hard to say, you know. He ran hard. Never got beaten on the dirt on him as a 4-year-old, so I don't know. Maybe it does have something to do with it.
Won most of them, but today the world won. Better luck, but a good trip and a good try, Robbie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. And the Breeders' Cup Classic champion has now arrived at our set, and congratulations.